back, everybody. Time in the WHIP studios is 11:43. Zach Gelb here with you, taking up until noon Eastern time, where the Temple Sports Hour comes your way. We were joined by Raheem Brock at 11:15, and now we're going to continue the Temple University football talk as they play Penn State this week, and they're looking to take down the Nittany Lions for the first time in 74 years. The last time it happened was in 1941. So let's go out to the hotline right now and welcome in another Temple University Hall of Famer, won the Maxwell Award in 1974, and that is former Temple University quarterback Steve Joachim. Steve, Zach Gelb here on Temple's campus. Thanks for a few minutes. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, Zach. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great, and it's always fun to have another chance to take down the Nittany Lions, and the Owls will be playing Penn State this Saturday, and you can hear the game right here on this station, WHIP, at 3:30. And there's a lot of high expectations with this Temple team this year, Steve. You all know that 7, 8, 9 wins are being talked about, competing for a conference championship game, but it all starts with Penn State on Saturday. And it really, you take a look at it, the quarterback play has to improve this year. In the offseason, they went out, they recruited, they brought back Robbie Anderson, they bring Adonis Jennings over from Pitt, they get the offensive line healthy, and then they give a lot of running backs to P.J. Walker. But when you take out P.J. and you look at him specifically, last year he did take a step back from his freshman year. How do you want to see him improve this year, Steve?
Well, I watched him a lot, from the beginning of his career, and, he's a great competitor. He knows that he has to get better. He just has to stop trying to do everything on his own. I think last year he was trying to win the games by himself and make a big play all the time. And this year, with their defense playing the way they're going to play, I think he can be a little bit more, laid back in terms of just concentrating and doing his job and being consistent.
You've coached high school football. You obviously played at both the college and pro level. You know how to really fix the mechanics of a quarterback. PJ said that he's been looking more at his checkdowns and things like that. But when you have a quarterback that has a turnover issue like Temple did last year, how do you really work on protecting the football? And what do you think PJ did this offseason to ensure that he'll throw less turnovers this year?
Well, you need to watch a lot of film and know which defensive man you're reading on each particular play. And then you have to not make up your mind ahead of time. That was what he was doing last year a lot and got himself in trouble. He'd make up his mind that he was going to throw the corner or the seam route when the check down was there or the guy in the flat was open. He needs to take what the defense gives him, especially against a team like Penn State. Penn State gives you a lot of stuff underneath, but you got to take it.
Also this year, they bring back Robbie Anderson, and if PJ has the talent, we all know that. A lot of it comes down to the mental aspect of football as well, and his teammates are saying his leadership has improved. That's the biggest difference from PJ last year to this year. But you bring back that safety blanket in Robbie Anderson, who had 44 receptions and 9 touchdowns in that PJ Walker's freshman year. How much does bringing in a guy that you're familiar with help the quarterback's confidence entering this season?
Oh, tremendous. If he can have a go-to guy, if there's some passes and combinations that he feels real comfortable with that they can go to in a tight spot, that gives you a lot of confidence as a quarterback.
This Temple team, they're more experienced than they were last year. You really have a lot of veteran leaders on this team that are seniors. And last year they went to Penn State and they played a close first half, but in the second half, that's where the turnovers really bit them in the you-know-what. And they weren't able to respond from answering back to those turnovers, and they kept on throwing turnover after turnover. Take me through the mindset of an NFL player and a college player. When you throw a turnover as a quarterback and you throw an interception that gets returned for a touchdown, how do you block that out and just focus on the next play and trying to leave a touchdown drive?
Well, the successful quarterbacks in this league have a real short memory during the game, meaning they don't focus on the things that they did bad. They're always focusing on that next play, and that's what PJ has to do. He has to, if he makes a mistake or he makes a bad read or he makes a bad throw, you got to get over it and go out there again. It's hard when you're playing in front of 50, 60,000 people, you throw a pick, you feel like everybody in the stadium is watching you and looking at you, and you have to get over that and get back to focusing on your fundamentals.
Going to the other team's quarterback, Christian Hackenberg, Matt Millen said he thinks he'll be a top 5 pick in this year's NFL draft. The stats from him aren't eye-popping. I wasn't that impressed with him last year, but we know he does have all the talent in the world. What do you see out of Christian Hackenberg, and how much of a challenge does he present for Temple on Saturday?
Well, if you let him throw, he's gonna eat you alive because he's very accurate. He's got a strong arm, so they got to get pressure on him, try to make him move around a little bit. He doesn't throw well when he's moving around in the pocket, so I think that's what Temple's going to try and do to disrupt him.
That's the number one key for me, and I would blitz very early in this game because Penn State, we know they have a good quarterback. Akeel Lynch is a really good running back. The wide receivers are depth. The tight ends are depth. But that one inconsistency and the unknown for Penn State is that offensive line. When you're a quarterback, and PJ did this a lot last year when they were rotating out each and every week, new offensive linemen. When Hackenberg gets under center and sees that Temple blitz coming, he better watch out because what's that feeling like, though, really, when you're a quarterback and you don't really know what your offensive line is capable of entering a season, because that's the unknown for Penn State?
Well, you have to go in. You have to go in with confidence, right? You have to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to do their job and they're going to play well. As you go forward, and if in fact the pressure starts to get to them, and that's what Temple needs to do. And I think if they can do it early, then they got a real good shot at winning this year.
Steve Joachim is our guest. Zach Gelb here with you, WHIP Radio in Philadelphia. Our number is 215-204-WHIP, taking up until noon Eastern Time, where the Temple Sports Hour comes your way. And when we had you on last year, we were talking to you about that Maxwell Award that you did win in 1974, and you said that it really did symbolize the 73 and 74 season. When you take a look back at that era of Temple football from 73 to 74, what memories come to your mind?
Well, it was first of all a lot of fun. It was a new experience for Temple to have a winning program like that. The players just really bonded and played together as a team, and everybody had confidence in everybody else, and it was just a great time for us. And I was lucky enough to be part of that.
And you had tremendous leadership starting at the top with the head football coach in Wayne Hardin, who's a college football Hall of Famer and is beloved here at Temple University and did some really good things with Navy as well, coaching a quarterback by the name of Roger Staubach. But when you take a look back and all the lessons that Coach Wayne Hardin has taught you, what's the one that really just stands out in your mind, and what's the biggest thing he taught you?
Well, it's really overall confidence. I can tell you that I never stepped on a football field not expecting to win the game, meaning I felt I was ready, I felt our team was ready, and that if we did our jobs, we were going to win the game. And that's an attitude that, Temple needs to develop now. And, I don't know, we'll see whether they have it this year. I saw some of it last year and a little more confidence, but, they need to come through in the clutch. Guys need to make big plays at the right time, and, that's something that they can build upon.
And we've had Coach Wayne Hardin on this show before, and he's a big advocate of Matt Rule and really likes the stuff that he does for Temple University, and they talk all the time. Do you see any similarities between Matt Rule and Coach Hardin?
Well, I think they're both very upbeat coaches, positive coaches. You don't see him getting down on players very much. He really shows his confidence. The other thing that's similar is if you look back in Wayne Hardin's career, right, he always had star players, Bellino, Staubach, myself, and that's how Matt Rule coaches. He's a player's coach. He tries to put you in a situation where you can succeed, and I think the players really appreciate that.
We all know you had a high level of success here, and you played in a lot of big games from Temple in 73 and 74. The stats just don't lie. And Wayne Hardin, I'm sure, has given a few big speeches in the locker room before the game. If Coach Hardin could probably say something to this Temple team leading up to this game, just knowing his background and knowing everything that he was, what do you think he would say to this Temple football team before they take on Penn State on Saturday?
Just believe in yourselves, and do your job, and when the time comes, step up, and that was something he asked every one of our players to do. And guys did it. And I'm sure Coach Rule has some things up his sleeve that he thinks will work against Penn State, and hopefully that they'll be able to pull it off this year.
I always still see Coach Harden in the parking lot before games, before he heads into Lincoln Financial Field. You'll be joining the coach this Saturday. You guys going to head down to the Lincoln, watch the Temple Owls play Penn State?
Definitely. I wouldn't miss it, man. I wouldn't miss it.
So what's the tailgate spread for one Steve Joachim? What do you have in the parking lot?
Well, I go to the players, my former players' tailgate with a whole bunch of guys. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody.
Yeah, definitely. So it's the Steve Conjar tailgate, right? That's a big one that there's always there, correct?
That's correct.
Well, Steve's always is a mouthful, and he always has great food and great drinks. So we'll see you in the parking lot before the game. Let's get a Temple win on Saturday. How does that one feel for the first time in 74 years?
It would be great. It would be great.
Thanks for a few minutes, Steve. We appreciate it.
See you later, Zach.